Hello everybody, welcome. My name's Dr. Cheryl Meyer and I help people navigate through their spiritual awakening. And all of life is a spiritual awakening. I'm a psychologist in my day job. And so I'm just committed. It's come upon me to be committed to taking out this time. I take out time about 3 times a week and post 3 times a week to give back because I'm always seeking to understand this on the highest level possible. And I've been a psychologist for over 20 years, so I have clients and I work with them, and I always want to get the best knowledge for myself and for them, so that not just knowledge, but understanding. Wisdom is different. Wisdom is like applied knowledge, so that you can be truly free, not just temporarily free. And so what I've found, you can see the title, whatever I title this, that's what this is going to be about. I have an idea what it's going to be about, but I also do my best to just be present. Look at this tree. As I ground myself, you guys can ground yourself. See the wind blowing through the leaves of this tree. And listen to the wind, Here's this tree that I'm sitting under. But I like that, all those. But understand that you are a soul and you're in a body, right? And I was listening to John Butler the other day, and he was saying, this is why we do the feet on the ground. Put your feet on the ground, right? Put your feet on the ground. Because we have all of these thoughts that come and go and blah, 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 chatter, chatter, chatter. And all these things that come at us through our screen, telling us, oh, you're going to be happy if you get this product. You're going to feel beautiful if you wear this, if you do this, if you have this much in your bank account or whatever. But your feet on the ground is like, he said, there's these videos called Spiritual Unfoldment with John Butler. He's like 80 something and he's been meditating for like 50 years or more, 60 years, I think, right? And so he carries with him a lot of presence, a lot of deep presence, right? I noticed when I put my camera out that, it showed my cross. And so it's kind of like this. And again, I always welcome all religions. So welcome here. Understand, this is something I learned with Eckhart Tolle as well. I just did a week-long class with him in Canada, the guy that wrote The Power of Now. And he has a lot of presence in him too, but he's like, always keep this vertical connection. Keep your connection to divine love, to God, up here, and your feet on the ground, which is you're standing on something that's still, And when you concentrate on that, and then here is your horizontal connection, to the people around us, to yourself, to loving other people, and then always return back to this oneness, right? Here's the circle, the oneness from which we came, the oneness, the same creator created every human soul, everything that we see around us, this tree, everything. These eyeballs that you have to look at this, your mouth, your Saint Ignatius prays this prayer, and he's like, you have given all to me. I give it all back to you. And I made an acronym for that one time so I could remember it. Mule. Like, don't be stubborn like a mule, but understand. Just like everything's better when you give all your memories, your understanding, your liberties, your entire will, like that song. Give your heart and soul to me, and life will always be. La vie en rose. Beautiful life in rose. You'll see everything with rose-colored glasses. And remember, if you've seen my other videos, I kept seeing roses everywhere. And finally, I got really quiet. You can find all your answers when you get quiet, and you surrender and you trust in something higher, because we came from that something higher. Remember, Plato said that everything you learn is just remembering. And so when we get quiet, you let go of all these racing thoughts. And so I kept seeing roses, and I asked, and I got an acronym because I get a lot of acronyms for us, and I have one for us today. It's awesome. But I got ROSE, rise, open your soul eyes, right? Give your heart and soul to me. That's the first commandment. Love the Lord your God, the I am, with all your heart, mind, soul, and will. And love your neighbor. There's the horizontal, as yourself. When you're connected in this horizontal way, this vertical way, you're connected, then the love flows through you and you're standing on this solid ground. And all this love can flow out to other people in this world of duality that we're in, where, if we only see the world of duality, then we ping and we pong and we go back and forth and it just escalates and we're lost in it, right? And so I keep returning to these truths every time, because so what if I taught you, okay, so in childhood, you took in all these subconscious beliefs. I know this as a psychologist, and you keep repeating these beliefs. And so let's just wake up every morning and remind yourself, I am a divine one. I am created by divine love. I am loved. I am cherished. All shall be well. All is well. All manner of things shall be well. I come from the oneness. I am beauty itself because I'm created in the image and likeness of God. I am worthy because for me, I understand Christ has made me worthy. He died for me while I was still in confusion. In sin is to miss the mark, is to be outside of the perfect loving will of God. Before I changed, God offers love to me and reconciliation through someone that was perfect, and draws me and calls me back in. If you understand it, if you're Jewish, or you understand Psalm 23, when the Lord is my shepherd, when the I am, this oneness, the oneness that is God, when the I am that I am is my shepherd, then I lack nothing. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me to quiet waters, to the still waters of true peace. He restores my soul. The word restores is like he recalls. He calls me back to the oneness, to the truth. He refreshes my soul, because I remember I am not this avatar. I am a soul in a body. I am a soul. My life is hidden with God in Christ in the heavenly realms. You have died here. If you were baptized, you've died in that water. It's meant to be like the death of Christ. And that's why I look at these trees, and to remind us, like this you're an animated God consciousness in this body. And so all of that brings us to this teaching of today, where I was inspired for us by this quote. I'm noticing how cold I am, even though it's a summer month here. I'll say that. I usually don't time my videos so they can be timeless. And so we have all of these truths, these lies that we internalized. If I'm worth 100% of love 100% of the time, but my parents treated me like I'm worth about 2% of that love, then I internalize I must only be worth 2% of the love. And if I try really hard and perform my best and have money in my bank account, or am making money with my job, or influencing a lot of people for good, or whatever I happen to be doing, I'm gonna lie down in the green pasture right now, because I think that'll ground me more. So wait, one thing too with the John Butler, he was saying, when you focus on your feet on the ground, it takes you out of your mind and brings you back to the reality that you can ground yourself in the stillness. And if you go up to the top, the I am is my shepherd. If you remember that, then it is like, give your heart and soul to me, and your life will always be lovey and rose, because you return to those rise open your soul eyes. You're seeing the world through your soul eyes instead of your physical eyes, right? Now here's the the acronym that I found for us today, right? And I think I thought of this exact same thing before, because I was trying to, sometimes we think if we just memorize this thing, if we just remember, oh, I am worthy, I am loved, I am cherished, I am forgiven, blah, 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 it's true. Like, it will start rewriting those old scripts. But we've got to participate in this presence, in the love of God, in knowing this internally and experiencing it, because it's like there's this verse that says, taste and see that the Lord is good. We must taste this and know it internally. And so, like I was saying, John Butler and Eckhart Tolle, look, I'll let the grass show here. They have a lot of that. They've practiced in presence. They've practiced being present and surrendering the mind chatter up to divine love, right? And so Eckhart Tolle has this sentence, all right, that inspired this. He says, what if I didn't add any thought to this experience, And the example for us came to me this morning because I had an idea I was going to do this video for us. And I saw that my trash can was out on the street. And yesterday I looked and like, what? They didn't take my trash yet. I wonder if all of a sudden my mind starts going on. What if I didn't pay the trash bill? What if they singled my trash out and they didn't pick it up? And then my trash is going to pile up. And that reminds me of my childhood, where I just felt like everyone's baggage was put on me. And I had this super over responsibility to try to clean up everybody's baggage. And sometimes I feel like that with us. I've made over 800 videos, and some of that must be out of, this thing from childhood of wanting everybody to be free and no one to experience the pain that I experienced. So I keep doing my best to put these videos out of love, but out of equipping people so that no one's left in this pain. But I don't want to do it out of my fear. I just want to do it because I love you guys, because I love you women and men and everyone here, However you see yourself, you're so beyond your gender. You are more than that. You are a soul in a body. You're beyond your skin color. You're beyond what you call your religion. God, the divine love created you, and you're here for a reason, and you have purposes for being here to unfold, like that Beatles song. I don't know why nobody told you how to unfold your love. Oh, look, there's this little tiny flower that people would call a weed here, right? Look. Let's see. I want to get it. That's the one I'm looking at, right? Little tiny. And yet it's still here. And so what if I just had that experience of the trash, right? And I didn't add anything to it. I didn't add any thoughts to it. I didn't start adding the thoughts from my childhood, like you're gonna run out, you're in lack. That's the thoughts of egotism. You're singled out to be rejected. It happens to be that Monday this week was a holiday, and so the trash guy is coming a day later, so he's gonna come today and he didn't come yesterday. And so, but as soon as I caught myself, be aware, just be alert of your thoughts. Okay, so before it goes to 15, I want to tell you the acronym, because sometimes this cuts off on other social media at 15 minutes in, but I welcome you and encourage you to go join and subscribe on YouTube, because that's where I put the fullness of my videos, right? Wherever you are. But I came up with an acronym so we could remember this, right? And then I'll teach you what I learned from it so that we all know this forever. And so I put Wi-Fi data. What if I don't add thoughts at all, right? What if I don't add any more thoughts to this? What if I just looked and said, well, my trash hasn't been taken yet? Or I had a client that was late the other day, and instead of going, I wonder where they are, I wonder if they're okay, why are they disrespecting this time? Why are they disrespecting their own time? All these thoughts came in. I just went quiet because I was practicing. What if I don't add any thought to this? And then I was just enjoying, and I had my guitar next to me, and I practiced my guitar in that time. And so that's something that I wanted to do, that I wanted to practice so I can sing songs well for people and be skilled in that area. And it's just not a raw talent that's given to me, but it's a discipline that I participate in, that I I could put it off. But and so instead of being caught up in my mind and caught up in anger and caught up in what we do is we repeat the same old story that we knew in childhood, because we're used to feeling that familiar feeling of shame and not enough, and you must have done something wrong. And so it's kind of like, right? And if the person that ghosted me ever watches any of these videos, like, forgive me for using this example. I'm not trying to throw that person under the bus. They ended up not ghosting me in the end. Like a couple months later, wrote me a sentence to say, hey, I wish you the best. But anyway, I won't go into that. But it's still saying, but in that, right? If someone that you really, really loved and cared about just chose, for whatever reason, we don't have to figure out the reason, right? I loved this one TikTok this woman was making. She's like, why are you looking for closure for a person that chose to disrespect you in this way? They don't know how to treat you with worth. It's okay. It just is what it is. It doesn't mean you lack worth, right? But let's look at a situation like that. We can just use it as a situation to learn from, because I've learned so much from that, is that as soon as you keep identifying yourself as, it's like Eeyore, in Winnie the Pooh, I must be a person worthy of ghosting, no one's ever gonna love me, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's not true at all. That was the first time I had experienced that by another physical person, in my adult life. But then I recognized, wow, that pattern was all throughout my childhood. That pattern was all throughout a lot of relationships that I was in, where, you see yourself as you keep trying to give to the other person and they're not available for you. In childhood, if you're the child and the parent's up here, you feel like you have to keep doing the tap dance. You have to keep trying to please these parents, or else, they're going to reject you and step on you and crush you, and you're not going to exist. So you feel like you're going to die. And so you learn to be a people pleaser, or you learn that you're never enough, and you learn to not hold people accountable, to be, it's like you can know the character of someone and choose to have a friendship with someone that does show themselves to have a good character over time. And then that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's like, I know people at my church, for example, that have been going to this church for over 20 years and work out their friendships with people and work out the difficulties and the problems they have, and they're not going anywhere, and they'll work them out with you, and you don't blame all your stuff on them and whatever. But all I'm saying is, let's go back to Wi-Fi data, right? I loved that, because we are like receptors. Our minds are like that. So if we're in this negative headspace, we'll pick up all of these depressing thoughts that are around us, and we'll think those thoughts are them. They'll amplify it. And if you want to understand this biblically, you can understand Jesus saying, when you cast out an evil spirit, if they clean out that house, if it's not filled up, let's say, with the Holy Spirit, then that one evil, let's just call it a thought form, or whatever you want to call it, goes and gets 7 more and amplifies that, and that house will be worse off. There's a great, huge mystery to that. So it doesn't mean don't clean out the house. Clean it out. That's what we're doing right now, is we're taking the time to clean it out. And so ask yourself, right? Ask yourself, for the last time you got triggered, what if I didn't add any thought to this? What if Wi-Fi, what if I didn't add thoughts at all to this, any more thoughts to this, right? I just try to come up with a way for us to remember this, is remember Wi-Fi data. Like, turn off the Wi-Fi. It's kind of like that. It's like put your mind on airplane mode, like we do with our phones. And so and you can't stop the thoughts. You just stop giving your attention to them. Like, if I started noticing, oh my gosh, this person that I loved so much, it's like my heart got broken because there felt like there was such a soul connection, like you feel sometimes with your parents, or sometimes in childhood, like these people, your mom bore you in her stomach no matter what else happened after that. She carried you and you were born. You know what I mean? So we did know that. And I have this feeling that we knew that love, that oneness in heaven, you know. And I don't always wear this cross because I don't want to trigger other people, you know, and I'm not in charge of everyone's triggers, but it's like we come from the oneness, like the sun, you know, and the same sun shines on all of us. And so love is always available. I love how John Butler says it. He's like, grace is like spiritual sunshine. And there's not like sun shining today, but it's like shifting into the sun and letting it shine on your face like I do in so many of my videos, you know. It's just like that. Instead of adding all this thought and repeating, and so just understand, like, have compassion, but have discipline. Have compassion that your mind is trying to work out. It goes back like a dog returns to his vomit. I think that's a proverb. So a fool returns to his folly. Like, we go back to like let's say this is the problem. We go back to where the problem was because we're trying to solve it in our mind. It's like, wait, my parents rejected me. They weren't present. They didn't know how to be sensitive to my soul. Like, I have a sensitive soul or whatever. And their hearts were hardened in their own ways. And my heart's all this soft. And so I felt crushed, you know? And it's like when I gave this love, you know, as just a person, you know, to this friend of mine, you know, in whatever capacity, right? It's complicated, but, you know, it's like when that got just rejected and thrown out, like, I don't want to have anything to do with you, and I'm not even going to tell you that, you know, for months, it was just bringing up all this confusion. But what if I didn't add any thought to that? What if I was just like, not callous, not hard-hearted, but was just like, understood, when you understand your true worth, that you came from the divine love. You know, and that's why I wear this other one, to always remind myself, because I forget so often because of my childhood and because of that story that played so much. It's like you would think that I wouldn't need so many reminders, you know? And maybe I don't, if I just surrender more, if we all surrender more and keep practicing this discipline of, what if I don't add more thought? What if I just shift into this love? And trust that the love is going to be there. What if I trusted, oh, well, that's just a person on this earth in this duality. And it was really painful in childhood when that happened. It felt like my whole childhood was a lot of ghosting, you know, like parents not showing up in the intimate ways you would like them to, and you don't understand why. And it's just that confusion and feeling the shame of not being welcomed and being rejected and being on your own again, crying, or until your heart grows hardened, until divine love comes in and heals that. Now this is what happened through that ghosting experience. So watch what happens when you don't add thought to it, right? I'm not saying I didn't. I added a lot of thought to it, and then God had to work through teaching me not to add thought, because that was just torturing myself, blaming the other person, staying angry at the other person, not understanding, am I lovable or am I not? You know, who says this? Where am I getting my identity from? Why do I keep looking out here in duality, like me to my parents, me to this other person to try to get my worth, instead of up here, in here? Here's perfect love from which we came. God is love, it says in 1 John, you know, beloved, let us love one another. Now, when we love, it is true, when you love yourself in the correct way, then you know, it says that when we love, we know God, for God is love. God is the isness of divine, it's just flowing love. And so the more we get stuck up in our head and tell this old story and try to work it out ourselves, we're not surrendering ourselves to love. We're not going back up to this oneness where all truth comes from. And so it's like, I was saying, from that experience, I learned, oh, I'm trying to get my worth externally, just like I learned to get it in childhood. When you're little, you don't remember per se, oh, I can get all my worth from God. You keep trying to get it from these same people that are giving you your food and your water. And when they don't know how to give it to you, you just feel a sense of shame. And so, you know, and my friend Elliott Smith was a singer, right? My mom was just in town and she's like, why do you quote Elliott so much? because she knows a lot about his life and the experiences I had with him, which so many were beautiful and good, But one of his songs, he says, God don't make no junk, which is just a saying, But it's plain to see he still made me. I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. And he's talking about, it's like, and when they clean the streets, I'll be the only stuff that's left behind. I won't say what he's saying. It's the S, so in case kids are watching, but I'll be that, and it's like, that's how he experienced himself, because he watched abuse in front of him and experienced it in his own ways. I'll keep his story for him to tell, because I don't want to, but he shared some with me, but it's like, because we were friends, this guy, Elliot Smith, so no wonder, you know what I mean? It's like, if I was locked in a basement for the first 18 years of my life, I would feel like, I would have this sense, like, if this was the sun, I would sense like, no, I'm not worthy to have the sun shine on me. And it feels awkward to have the sun shine on me, because I was always taught, no, you can't have that. You have to stay in this basement. And people just think, oh, if we just let them out of the basement, they'll know the sun and they'll feel it and they'll see. And you will learn that you were always meant to be in the sun, you were always meant to be in the love and have that. And so practice, see what happens, right? I can't tell you what's going to happen. Just practice and see, what if I don't add more thoughts to this experience? What if the trash just didn't get picked up yet? And I'm just present with that. And I stop resisting that and go into my defensive mode. Like, I got to protect myself, and I got to tell this person, how dare you reject me and not choose me? I'm worth loving. It's like, I don't have to convince my parents. I don't have to convince my parents through this other person, through anybody. I don't have to convince myself. That's the thing, is if you just let go, it feels like we're going to experience that same rejection again from childhood. It feels like we're going right back into that horrible pain. But watch what happens when you finally surrender and stop trying to control it all neurotically and proving your worth in this world and proving your worth by trying to please. And you can't please another person. I don't care if it's your spouse. You can't fill up their ego enough for them to be a good parent to you, for them to be a good lover, You can't do that. You've got to know this love inside yourself. And so one of the ways to do that is to practice this, what I came up with, this acronym for us, Wi-Fi DATA. What if I don't add any thought, at all to this? And I just go, okay, so someone ghosted me. And that means, because someone had to tell me what ghosting was, that means they were in my life, but now they're not choosing to be. And it is what it is. And you start praying to God, divine love, and asking God, like I did earnestly, And I said this, I noticed this in my this morning when I was reflecting. I was like, wow, go back to 3.5 years ago when that happened to me. And I said, I must be ghosting myself in some way. That was like a prophetic voice. If I only could come to all of the understanding and all of the love that I know now and I've experienced now, as God has helped me detach from getting my worth externally. I'm not saying I'm perfect at that, but not from my bank account, not from someone else, not from how many likes I have or viewers or anything like that. It's like God was detaching me and weaning me from that and showing me, hey, you still were getting your worth from an unstable place in this world of duality where there's good and bad and yin and yang, and people will reject you and they'll honor you. It's just like a lyric from Lauryn Hill. She's like, they'll hail you, stupid star. They'll hail you and nail you no matter who you are. They'll bring you up and put you down, because that's the nature of egotism. That's the nature of fortune, if you try to get your worth from that. But, and so it's like, I had this knowing that my worth cannot come from this other person. And yet, why am I so heartbroken? It seemed to be. Why was I waiting for someone else to know that I'm worth loving and to reflect that back to me? Maybe that person didn't have the capacity to love themselves in that honest of a way or deep of a way or whatever, you know what I mean? Maybe they didn't know he or she, for whoever you experience this from. And then guess what? You were doing the same thing to yourself. And so when you don't add thought to this, even when you don't judge yourself for it, you just go, wow, the world just reflected to me ghosting. That doesn't mean my worth. Let's just let it be what it is and see how I can invite God, the divine love, which I came from, into this experience where I'm not experiencing love. How can I let this wound be an opening where I invite God to teach me what is my soul's journey for this? How can I invite love and let this part of me just learn how to detach? It's not far out, you guys. That's the thing. It seems like it's far out there, but had I known to just shift right then to be like, oh wait, I am loved. I am in love right now. Another person and even my own estimation of my worth has nothing to do with my real worth. Let's sit in that now. What if we don't add any more thoughts to this video? What if I'm just here being with you and you're being with me? And lo, I am with you always. I think Jesus is the one that said that. And divine love is always. That's what we're doing. We're practicing being. I am, the I am is with us always. We're made out of that. We're just afraid to trust that, but you can. I wish you so much love. Much love.